Tomorrow's a big day. What are we going to see from Apple? Hey there, friends on YouTube. My name is Jason, sometimes known as the JTL. This is Painfully Honest Tech. Tech so honest it hurts. This is your first time here. Thanks for stopping by. If you've been here before, thank you for coming back again. I really do appreciate it. Let's get right into the business. Apple has scheduled a big event tomorrow. Well, it could be a big event. We don't really know. There are a lot of things that people are expecting to see from this Apple event tomorrow. I just thought maybe we'd jump in here and talk about what we might be seeing at this event. I mean, if you've been paying any attention whatsoever, you already know that iPad Pros are probably the number one thing that everybody's expecting to see. We're going to see an iPad Pro that, according to all the folks who are putting on renders, etc., bigger screens, smaller bezels with Face ID and USB-C connection instead of Lightning. Now, USB-C, much more robust connector compared to Lightning, so this could open up a lot of doors for the iPad to really do a lot more. But the trade-off that we'll be making here, one of the trade-offs at least, is that the iPad Pro will at this point lose its headphone jack. Now, I think this is a bad idea. I think this is really difficult because there are a lot of people out there, professional, creative people, musicians, etc., who use the iPad as their device of choice when recording and all that. And if you take away the headphone jack on a device that lots of people use to get through their creative process, then you're causing a disruption that doesn't necessarily have to be there. However, it seems like the headphone jack is on the way out, and it's Apple, so we have to just shrug our shoulders and say, whatever. The iPad's also going to see some Face ID, which will work in both portrait and landscape mode, apparently. That's all good for me. I mean, I got no problems with that. But does that mean it has raise to wake as well? I don't remember. Does the iPad have raise to wake? So these iPad Pros, they'll come in two sizes. I think it's now 11 inches of a screen real estate and 12.9 inches of screen real estate. So it'll be basically the same sizes of iPad Pros that we've seen in the past, but bigger screens, smaller bezels, a little bit more of a modern looking design, and apparently the body is going to be a little bit more squared off, chamfered edges perhaps, something like that, going back to the iPads of old when they were kind of square. The MacBook Air is on the docket for an upgrade. It's not been upgraded for quite some time as well. The MacBook Air is a weird device in 2018, though. The thing about the MacBook Air is it was fantastic when you needed a small, portable device, and it just fit nicely into, well, if you don't want to go MacBook Pro, then there's the MacBook Air. It works really well for day-to-day tasks, and it's much lighter. But since then, we've seen the introduction of the 12-inch MacBooks, and now it seems like both the 12-inch MacBooks and the MacBook Air have been fighting for the same real estate. Yes, the MacBook Air is a larger screen at 13 inches. The MacBooks are 12 inches. The form factor is much larger, however, whereas the MacBooks are just, I mean, they're the size of an iPad, but they are a clamshell fold-out computer thingy. Since the MacBook Air has not been updated for so long, I really typically thought that we were just going to see them be phased out and the MacBooks take over in that space. But there's a lot of talk that we're going to see MacBook Air updates, more modern-looking designs with slimmer bezels, etc. So that may be happening, and there might be upgrades coming for the MacBooks as well. Both of those devices seem to live in the same product category, and I can't see why you would need to keep both around, but maybe I'm missing something. You let me know if you see a place for the MacBook and the MacBook Air in the Apple product line. For me, I just don't see it. Tell me down in the comments if you have some thoughts. There's also talk that the iMacs could see an upgrade. It's time for an iMac upgrade. We've got the Kaby Lake chips in the most recent iMacs from 2017. We saw the Coffee Lake update for the MacBook Pros earlier this year, so it seems like it's time to see an update for the iMacs to that same structure. Now, Coffee Lake is a big improvement over Kaby Lake, so I think it's going to be really good to see that. Also, they're talking about some sort of display improvement, but I really think that's just going to be the addition of True Tone display like we see on the iMac Pro and on the phones, etc., etc. So I don't know what else they can do with a 5K display besides making it 8K, and that would be possibly price prohibitive for the people who are in the iMac market. The Mac Mini is also on deck for an upgrade. Now, the Mac Mini hasn't been improved since 2014, and in 2014, they really didn't improve that device. They turned it into something that was a much lesser version of what it was. Gone were the i7 chips, gone was the upgradability on the consumer side. They were really hobbled machines that could only do certain things and very light tasks, video editing very hard on them. So, but the talk is now that they're going to move back toward something that professionals could use, as well as perhaps something that works for the average consumer. There's talk of a space gray for the Mac Mini. I would love to see a Mac Mini with options for Coffee Lake chips, as well as storage that would get you up to 4 terabytes and 32 gigs of RAM available. I would love to see basically more reasonably priced for somebody trying to get into the professional market with an Apple device and not have to buy something that would cost them an arm and a leg like an iMac. I don't know that that's going to happen. I don't know that that's going to happen. Apple doesn't typically take something away and then go backwards and give it back to you. I don't know that they've ever done that. So I don't know if that's going to happen with a Mac Mini, but I would love to see it happen. The Mac Mini, for a long time, was the best value in Apple's catalog. And since 2014, it really hasn't been all that compelling. So in order for Apple to make it compelling again, they got to do something. Now, the last thing that I've heard people talking about, the last thing that's kind of interesting is, first, AirPods 2. Now, AirPods 2, what a lot of people think is the AirPods 2, they would upgrade the case for wireless charging. I don't know that they're going to significantly change the AirPods. The AirPods are very good for what they are. They're super convenient and work incredibly well in the Apple ecosystem. They sound okay, which is good enough for the majority of people. And I just don't see improving upon that. And I think the $159 price point is the right place for that device to sit. Anything above that, I don't know. There's talk that they might have over-the-ear headphones coming in an AirPod style, but Apple's got Beats. And Beats has the W1 chip that the AirPods have in a bunch of different devices. So I don't see Apple creating something that they already have in another product line. And of course, when you're talking about AirPods 2, when you're talking about wireless charging case, of course, you come back to AirPower. A month or so ago, Apple removed every mention of AirPower on its website. It just totally took it away. It had been a year since they announced that they wanted to have this multi-device charging pad. They'd had all kinds of problems getting the technology figured out. And when they took away every mention of it, I assumed that that meant AirPower was dead. But the iPhone XS and XS Max and XR, there was mention of AirPower in the details that came along with those devices. So maybe it's not dead. Maybe we'll see it tomorrow. Maybe we'll see new AirPods. Maybe we'll see over-the-ear headphones. But I haven't heard those rumors as much as I've heard the rumors of the iPad Pros, the MacBook Air, the MacBooks, iMacs, Mac Mini. Those seem to be the things that are most likely to be seen. Of course, Apple could do something entirely different. We don't ever really know until the event happens. I'll be watching live tomorrow and giving my thoughts as the event goes on. If you want to tune in for that, watch for the live stream that will probably pop up so that you can do that. Is this on par with what you expect Apple to announce tomorrow? Some of these things could be really exciting. Some of these things could be total game changers. It just depends on what they're going for, and we'll know that tomorrow. tomorrow. Anyway, thanks so much for being here. If this was your first time here and you want to come back again, you can hit the subscribe and the like and the notify and all those things. If you've been here before, then you really are special to me. I really do appreciate it. If you want to get some Painfully Honest Tech merch, or if you want to know what I use to make these videos or audio stuff or whatever, there are links down in the description to everything that I use, as well as the link to the t-shirt. You can go down in the description below. Otherwise, let's have a boisterous conversation down in the comments. Thank you so much for being here. Again, my name is Jason, sometimes known as the JTL. This is Painfully Honest Tech. Tech so honest, it hurts. Until the next time, I'm out!